The tragic killing of Jose Campos Torres is one of Houston's most infamous cases of police brutality. A Vietnam War veteran, Torres survived combat only to lose his life in his hometown at the hands of those sworn to protect. His death at the hands of police officers in 1977 is a haunting reminder of racial injustice and the abuses of power that, unfortunately, still resonate today. This story of brutality, heartbreak, and a failed justice system not only angered a community, but also left an indelible mark on the city's history and the fight for civil rights. Jose Campos Torres was born in Houston, Texas, and served honorably in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. Like many veterans returning home, he struggled to adjust to civilian life, facing trauma and hardships that came with the aftermath of war. Despite his challenges, Torres was known to be kind-hearted and dedicated to his family, especially to his young son. Tragically, his life would come to an end on the night of May 5, 1977, during an altercation with the Houston Police Department, HPD. On that fateful night, Torres was celebrating Cinco de Mayo with friends in Houston's East End, a predominantly Mexican-American community. After a minor incident, police officers were called to the scene. When the officers arrived, Torres was taken into custody for disorderly conduct. What followed was a series of horrific events that would lead to Torres's brutal death and a public outcry for justice. The events that unfolded after Torres's arrest would shock the community and reveal a disturbing abuse of power within the HPD. Instead of taking Torres directly to jail, officers led him to an isolated area by the banks of Buffalo Bayou. Known as the Bayou Beatdown, it was here that the officers, including Terry W. Denson and Stephen Orlando, savagely beat Torres. This was not the first time officers had brought suspects to the bayou for roughing up, a practice they referred to as a wet run or wet back punishment, often reserved for Mexican-American detainees. Torres suffered a brutal beating that left him severely injured. At one point, the officers even took him to a local jail, but the jailer refused to book him due to the visible extent of his injuries. Rather than seeking medical help or allowing Torres to receive care, the officers decided to take him back to Buffalo Bayou for further discipline. It was here, after enduring relentless physical abuse, that Torres was pushed into the bayou. He was unable to swim due to his injuries, and the officers made no attempt to rescue him. Jose Campos Torres drowned, and his body was found floating in the bayou 2 days later. The discovery of Torres's body shocked the Houston community, particularly Mexican-American residents, who saw the incident as a horrific reminder of the racism and mistreatment they often faced. The police brutality and senselessness of Torres's death were clear, but the judicial response to the crime added to the outrage and betrayal felt by the community. Officers Terry W. Denson and Stephen Orlando were initially charged with murder, but the charge was later reduced to negligent homicide. In a stunning and highly controversial verdict, both officers were given only a 1-year probation sentence and a $1 fine. The leniency of this sentence was a severe blow to Torres's family and to the community at large, who had been following the case with hope for accountability. The Houston Police Department and local judiciary sent a clear message with the sentencing. A police officer's life and career were valued above the life of a young Mexican-American veteran. The injustice of Jose Campos Torres's death reverberated throughout Houston, particularly among Mexican-American communities who saw it as emblematic of a larger pattern of discrimination and police violence. In the wake of the verdict, tension simmered, eventually reaching a boiling point 1 year later during the Cinco de Mayo festivities of 1978. In what became known as the Moody Park riots, hundreds gathered in Houston's North Side neighborhood, demanding justice for Torres. The peaceful festivities quickly turned into an eruption of anger and frustration as protesters clashed with police and violence spilled into the streets. Although the riots resulted in damage and numerous arrests, they also highlighted the depth of the community's pain and the growing call for systemic change. The killing of Jose Campos Torres and the subsequent injustice of his case left an indelible mark on Houston's history. The case became a rallying point for Mexican-American activists and sparked discussions about police reform, accountability, and community relations. The Houston Police Department faced increasing pressure to address discriminatory practices and to prevent future abuses. While reforms were implemented in the years that followed, the events around Torres's death revealed deep-seated issues within the department and the judicial system. In later years, memorials and events have been held to honor Torres's memory and to keep the story of his tragic death alive. His death serves as a symbol of resilience for the Mexican-American community in Houston and for all marginalized communities who seek justice in the face of adversity. In 2019, a mural was created near Buffalo Bayou in memory of Jose Campos Torres, standing as a reminder of his life and the call for justice that his death inspired. The story of Jose Campos Torres is a painful reminder of the consequences of unchecked authority and racial injustice. A young veteran who had served his country, Torres did not receive the protection or respect he deserved upon his return home. Instead, he became a victim of brutal violence that was compounded by a legal system that failed to deliver justice. His death was a tragedy that ignited a movement, a call for accountability, and a demand for change within Houston and beyond. Though decades have passed since that dark day in 1977, the fight for justice and equity remains ongoing. As we remember Jose Campos Torres, we honor his memory by continuing to seek justice for victims of discrimination and violence. His story serves as a powerful reminder that the struggle for fairness and accountability is far from over. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button. It really helps us out. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Tap the bell to stay notified whenever we post a new video. Thanks again, and see you in the next one.